Hello YouTube, this is Mars. Welcome back to another Conan Exiles survival guide, and today I'm doing a showcase for the Black Hand Fighter Thralls, making comparisons and showing their overall stats. So first things first, I want to say why I'm introducing them again, why I'm introducing them like this at all. In my opinion, I like them. They're better than most Archer Thralls in the game, specifically because of their attributes and how the game has changed for Thralls. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about the zones, because I got it wrong the last video. So in the desert and the jungle, Thralls get a 10% intrinsic damage increase. The Relic Hunter Treasure Seekers and the Relic Hunter Fighters here, they get either a 20% damage increase or a 30% damage increase because of zone. New Azagarth, they have a 20% intrinsic damage increase because of zone. Mounds of the Dead, they get a 30% damage increase because of zone. And Volcano Thralls get an intrinsic 40% damage increase because of the zone they're in. Now also, because of the tier, they also get another 40% increase to damage depending on the type of Thrall. Archer Thralls, they only get archery damage increase, while Fighter Thralls get both. That's my reasoning behind getting the Black Hand Fighters. Now let's go right into the names. Now we have Crawdad the Crusher. He's going to be a placeholder for any of the named Fighter Thralls, which is him, Braggy the Bold, and any jungle roaming Fighter Thralls, just because they have similar stats. Now that excludes any named Fighter Thralls from the Buccaneers Bay, especially the Captain's Quarters, because Heckler Waverunner and Gallows Spearden is a bit stronger than them in terms of maximum health. Now we also have the Black Hand Captain and the named Black Hand Captain from the Black Galleon. They also have a higher value of health than the roaming Fighter Thralls and the Black Hand tribe. Now let me show you their stats. Their intrinsic stats, so basically their attributes are pretty much the same. They all do the same amount of damage, but at the same time their value of health is kind of what differentiates them. Now, in my honest opinion, I definitely would say I'd go for if you wanted a pretty solid Fighter Thralls, I'd go for either the Black Hand Captains or the other Black Hand Captains near Buccaneers Bay. Because technically, I feel like these two are Black Hand Captains. So, where does this hold Crawdad the Crusher and all the roamers? They're really just stronger archers with really good archery stats. Let me show you the finished product. Really, I finished these guys. I leveled these guys up with grilled steaks just to balance their health out, because they didn't really start with a whole lot of health. Granted, I was kind of surprised near the end, in the ending stages, because they really scaled really nicely. They have really good strength stats, they have really good archery stats, they can really do both. That's why I feel like the Black Hand named Fighter Thralls are better archers, just because of their intrinsic stats, not to mention their AI is better. Fighter AI is better than Archer AI, so that's my reasoning behind that. So let's start with Braggy the Bold. Like I said, he's a placeholder for Crawdad the Crusher, Freebooter Marcus, any of the named roaming fighters that you see around the jungle, except Buccaneers Bay. Let me show you his stats. So he capped out at 6,547 health. I fed him primarily grilled steaks just to balance his health out a lot more. He can deal a lot of damage just because he's a Fighter Thrall. They get intrinsic melee damage, and plus the Black Hands get archery damage now, so his archery damage is sitting at about 63 accuracy. So I'm going to let you look at the stat sheet. Now, I did testing with him against the Arena Champion. He can get the Arena Champion down to 20%, but because his value of health is so low, I always have to stop the fight before he perishes. Now, he's a really good fighter in terms of just base defense. If he's chunking the Arena Champion, that means he's really good for base defense. Now, it's also weapon specific. You kind of want to give them only two-handed weapons, and you want to give them a bow with a fencing kit, and of course dragon bone arrows or any type of arrows. Now hopefully they make changes to armor penetration on bows, so it doesn't have the 100% armor penetration buff anymore, but that hasn't happened yet. So utilize what you can utilize for base defense. Now you definitely want to have Gruel as a healing item. That's just generalizing. You definitely want Gruel as a healing item just because it's the best possible heal for Thralls. And yeah, Braggy the Bold, I feel like he's specifically only going to be used for like base defense, just because he's a better archer. He has a much better damage stat, because I'm comparing him to other named archers that are in the game. Like, let's say I was using Dina Master Huntress against the Arena Champion. Technically, her strength value was double what his was, but she was nowhere near capable to take out the Arena Champion solo. Whereas Braggy the Bold got the Arena Champion down to 20% maximum health. Dina Master Huntress, who was an archer, who has no intrinsic melee damage or any intrinsic melee perks for her AI, so she's at 0%, where Braggy the Bold's at 50% increased damage with 30% health. Well, 25, not 30% health, 25 strength. He got the Arena Champion down to 20% health, while Dina Master Huntress only got the Arena Champion down to 80% health. So that's how that pretty much works. I feel like the percentage values are more in favor of fighters than archers. But unfortunately, Braggy the Bold was not able to take down the Arena Champion on his own, so he's kind of a decent defensive Thrall. He can take the place of any archer in my opinion, just because of his stats are pretty decent. Now let's move on to Heckler Waverunner. He caps out at about 10,454 health. Now he actually finished off the Arena Champion. He had pretty good stats. Let me show you his stats and show you his stats and attributes. So he finishes off at 38 strength, 21 agility, 32 vitality, and 45 accuracy, and 36 survival. So he can take a wallet because of his maximum health, and he can deal a lot of damage. Now these guys are really tanky, and they can deal a lot of archery damage, so you definitely want to try and pick these up when you can. And their stats, their perk stats, they usually get around the same type of perks. I've noticed they get the cannibal perk a lot, which kind of hurts their archery, but at the same time their archery scales so high it really doesn't matter too much. If you want them to focus solely on archery, then give them flawless archery gear. They don't have to have the strength gear. This is what I prefer to put on them, just to have like a balance between the two stats. If you want them to be way more focused on the archery, which is fine, you can do that. But at the same time, in my mind, I'd like to think of balancing out the stats a bit more to where they have a bit more strength. They have intrinsic melee damage, so adding more strength will always help them. And now to the Black Hand Captain. I feel like he had the best stats even though they weren't the most balanced. Now he capped out at 12,000 maximum health. He's pretty tanky. Honestly, he can even do most of the content in the game just like Heckler Waverunner. Just because even though his strength stats aren't as high, he can pretty much solo most content in the game without any issue. Now these guys sit more into place where like bears were last patch, which is really good. They have a lot of good stats, so I would definitely recommend picking up any named Black Hand fighters. They're really solid fighters in terms of being good archers and good defensive Thralls, as well as being good roaming Thralls. Now take this into account. They are not berserkers, they're not Leon, they're not any fighters from the volcano. So I'm telling you, they're not going to be as powerful as them. These guys are really good at being defensive Thralls and being good archers. Take that with a grain of salt. Now to back up anything I said, I'm going to show a bit of gameplay for just show my testing, my whole process, and I'm going to just cut to that. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Have a great day.
You picked the wrong fight!
Watch your flanks. Me and the mates are thick as thieves.
God take you! Taste death! Die!
You'll dance for me now or swing for me later.
Curse you!
Get your
You
ass.
picked the wrong fight!
Kick her ass.
Pokey
Kick her
pokey,
ass.
mate.
Can't get no more until you whoop her ass.
Watch your flanks. Me and my mates are thick as thieves.
There you go. Keep it up. You're almost done. I believe in you.
You've no chance, mate.
Come on. Come on. Finish the job.
Taste
Finish
death.
the job. There we go. Good job. Good job. Good fucking job. There you go.
Go for it.
Okay. I don't know what just happened. Okay, there we go.
You'll dance for me now or swing for me later.
The wrong fight.
Damn, he's doing better with Untitled Sorrow. His combos are better.
Watch your flanks. Me and my mates are thick as thieves.
He isn't nowhere nearly as powerful as Leon or Berserker, but he can go toe to toe with the correct weapons. Correct weapons, he can do stuff. No, he ain't doing his overhead swings like he should.
Okay, mate.
Taste that.
He's kicking some ass. That maximum health kind of puts him in a position where he can trade blows really well. Oh, he's sundered, but he should be fine. He's healing up pretty well too. A bunch of them running around like Tell of Sorrows or something. That's really fucking good. Okay, you have my stamp of approval now. Good job, my dude. Good job. I don't doubt anything you'll do in the future.
He's getting stun locked every single time. Bitch, I'm fucking around.
You dance for me now, or swing for me later.
And he took, oh shit. Okay, good job. Just barely though, he did it though. Good job.